Hello YouTube, this is Terrell. Today is June 20th, 2011. This is your 7-7 warning video for things that are coming up. A lot of things are happening fast now. You're going to hear more and more urgency in my voice, so pay very careful attention. The next thing on our timeline, June 27th, the Dwarf Star crosses Mars orbit. Everyone needs to copy down this timeline and the diagrams so that you can inform your people of what's going on as we proceed. Notice this 7-7 date. This is a very important date on the timeline that's coming up. That's when Saturn gives us a sign. Ellie is going to pass directly between the Sun and Saturn. Well, I shouldn't say directly. Ellie is in the southern hemisphere and Saturn's in the northern hemisphere. It could be a minimized sign, but I expect to see something, and there's more evidence that other people think we're going to see something too here. This is the orbit diagram. All the links that I'm showing you here, they're all in the description box that you can go to. Okay, look at the Earth distance, 1.812. Ellie is right now getting nearer to us by 300,000 miles per day. In about a week, that number is going to be 400,000 miles per day, and it's going to continue to increase. You're going to see more and more volcanoes going off. That's your sign to wake people up. You have 33 volcanoes erupting right now in the Earth, and that number is going to continue to go up as we move along in the timeline. Very important. NASA issued this. If you saw the threat assessment video, then I explained their symbolism. I explained what they're doing. They're only warning their family and personal friends, for preparedness of what's happening here, for unforeseen threats. They're supposed to get ready. Okay? This is from Sam, a friend of mine, and he's showing how this video is being systematically removed by Google, by YouTube, calling it inappropriate. They're just deleting it. The reason is because people are waking up. We're using this as a tool. It's in my threat video, and they're trying to do damage control. The threat that they're talking about is the solar threat. Okay, this is what's going to keep you from getting to your bug out location. The solar threat that's coming. We already had a near miss here in June that spooked me. Made me think that maybe my timeline was off. But it looks like that we're going to be okay. The situation's holding. Ellie's getting nearer and nearer to the ecliptic plane every day. And as Ellie gets nearer and nearer, which Ellie is the dwarf star, by the way, as the dwarf star gets closer and closer to the Sun, you're going to see more of these ejections. This is what's going to stop you from getting to your bug out location. That's the reason we have the safety windows in place in the threat assessment chart. Very important. Now, this study came out last month that identifies magnetic ropes. So you're looking right here. This is the source of your coronal mass ejections. These are caused by the Sun rotating and being connected to this other star through these magnetic portals. This is the phenomena they're identifying. This is a very big threat of what's coming. Another threat that you need to be aware of. Monograph is reporting that there's 32 no-fly zones right now in the United States. That number could continue to grow. But when you see this thing right here, areas that the government, which is corrupt, is telling us that we cannot fly here and there, they're covering something up. Danger right here. Danger sign. Danger sign. Shh. Obama orders blackout. Danger sign. They're blocking out the news. Look what's going on here. This is a nuclear power plant. They have storage facilities for fuel rods like in Japan. This is a recipe for disaster. Right here. Read the story. Now, the problem here is we have dams that are being controlled by our government. Rather than releasing the pressure upstream of this, all of these dams are allowed to reach the top. Right now they're about 1.5 feet from the top. They have 5 feet of water coming from the record snow melt that they placed there using their HARP technology. And they know that there's a crisis coming. They have their people stationed. They're coming together right now in the northern end up near Michigan. That's a report from a personal source. They're getting ready to stage an event, and I believe that it's going to be focused around the 7-7 Saturn alignment, because they know that Saturn's going to give us a sign. Okay, there are other intel that we have that the owners of survival companies, particularly, but others too, they're being called up and their entire inventories are being purchased by these elites in their billion-dollar bunkers. They're being given invitations to join them, and it's happening everywhere. It looks like that the people doing threat assessment for these elites have backed their windows up to 7.7. I'm seeing a reoccurring pattern of that over and over and over again, where my current windows of safety back up to August the 1st. So you can understand that makes me nervous that I'm 3 weeks behind. We need to be very careful. If you see one dam break above this situation right here, one dam, then all the safety windows for August are closed and you must deploy immediately to the Ozarks. Perhaps your roads that you, especially if you live in the Northeast, if you have roads that you need to get here, they're going to be washed away. When the seismicity kicks up for the Madrid fault line, then the foundations of the buildings, the bridges, the roads are going to sink in the mud. The entire area is going to liquefy and run out into the Gulf. The salt dome that's out there under the Gulf, under Louisiana, is already broken. That's what the Gulf oil crisis was all about, breaking that dome. And when Ellie comes and shakes it, then the loose material that's over the top of that dome is going to collapse. And the entire Midwest is going to liquefy. And the whole situation, the whole Midwest is going to slide right out into the Gulf of Mexico. And everyone caught over in the Appalachian side is going to be in great danger. At the same time, Dutch Sense is giving us severe weather alerts of water that they're continuing to pile on top of this situation using their HARP technologies, pointing out the HARP rings, the scalar squares, the triangles, everything they're doing to create this weather in the upper Midwest to pile water on top of water on top of water. And it appears that all this is coinciding with a 7/7 event. I'm not talking about a false flag. I'm talking about a staged event where they break dams that cause a cascade effect to create the biggest catastrophe of our country. And that threat could keep our people from the Northeast and in Canada from getting across at New Madrid. Now who I thought was my good buddy, Mike at Patriotic Space, I cannot say an evil thing about anybody. I cannot say a bad word about my partner there. He is very upset with me because of this right here. The entire Appalachian Eastern Seaboard region has been declared unsafe. The entire East Coast is unsafe. And here's the reason. When this New Madrid goes, the salt dome is already broken. This entire area starts sliding. This fault line right here is going to become activated. It's going to shake this entire mountain range. All the way from here, all the way to there. This is going to shake apart. Become highly active. Way terrible. Way terrible. This is your problem. Concentration of nuclear power plants. Right here. Okay. This entire area liquefies. You cannot get across. You're going to be stuck here. These babies start melting down, and this is going to be a poison dead zone. When Ellie goes by, this will be uninhabitable. All the way from Maine, all the way to Florida, everything east of the Mississippi River will be uninhabitable. The northern end of this area is going to be uninhabitable. You need to be far south. You need to be in a cavern with water. Listen to this guy here on this Coast to Coast radio show. He has a military, he's in the military, he lives in a military neighborhood, and he's been given information about what he needs to do. And he is told specifically to get west of the Mississippi River for a reason. This is the safe zone map. There is no safe zones here. You can go inside your cavern and you can hide from Ellie. But eventually you're going to have to come out. And you're going to have the problem of all these nuclear power plants. And so the air is going to be poisoned. You cannot take a gas mask and get out. Where are you going to go? Remember, the Midwest is liquefied. You cannot get across. It's impossible. This entire area is not safe. You've got some pockets in here where it's possible that you can hold up inside of a cavern, remember, with water and survive. Because whenever the New Madrid pops, that's later in the timeline, look at the threat assessment, then the ocean is going to come in and it's going to put the fire out. It's possible that you can survive in these areas. Not directly downwind, but it's possible in these areas that you can survive. But I recommend everybody to get into this green zone right here in the central United States. The best area in our country is right here where I'm making this circle, because that's where thousands and thousands of caverns are. We're finding new caverns every day that can hold 2,500 people or more. Right here. We have medical staff. We have military contingent. We're putting together a fantastic group of people right here. Go to the survival video, the survival poster. You can learn how to join us here. You can create survival groups out in these areas. They are safe. However, you need to represent a cross-section of your society with doctors, military people, construction workers, nurses, teachers, the whole shooting match. Whenever Ellie goes by and you're in a weak group, you're going to be susceptible to threats like Cheney, Rumsfeld, Blackwater, Mercs that are going to try to push us into their FEMA death camps that are all in this area. Those are real threats. You want to be part of our army of men that are right here, if you can get there. People have questions. I cannot answer all the emails and all the YouTube messages, the Twitters. I cannot answer them all. There's way too many. This is an opportunity to come to our research group and to talk to us face to face and to find out what's going on. My buddy Envy is the owner of the room. This is the name of the room. We're using Paltalk. You can come in and get your instructions. You want to be there so that you can get the up to the minute updates. I do not make a lot of videos. These things require a lot of time to put together, and there's just not a whole lot of time to do that. I have to be away from my group, and they have questions all the time, all around, and there's people I need to answer. Where we're putting together groups in India and Brazil and Australia, and all that stuff requires a lot of time, and time is what we do not have, because August 1st could be backed up to July the 7th very easily, very, very easily. So this is your 7/7 warning video. We could be backing up our deployment to 7/7 because of events that take place, including a deliberate act by our government to destroy the dams in the northern Midwest, to cause a cascade that piles more water onto the Midwest. The reason for doing that is to distract us from the event that we expect with Saturn, and to impede our progress from moving from the dead zone that's in the Appalachian Mountains, the whole entire eastern seaboard, across the Mississippi Valley into the Ozarks. So you need to be on high alert, and when you see these things happening, you need to get your supplies together and get across the Mississippi River for sure. As long as you're on the west side of the Mississippi, then you can make it to our location.